Hello, this is Professor BRB, and today we're going to look at the really great new color theme tool that Adobe has put into InDesign starting in Creative Cloud 2014. It is right over here in your tool panel, or you can get to it by hitting I on the keyboard and then I again, and that toggles you back and forth between the familiar eyedropper tool and the new color theme tool. And what this is good for is taking color schemes out of a photograph or another part of your layout and creating swatches. So you'll notice I have a layout here with a photo, and the colors in the layout are clashing with the photo. They don't look good at all. And what I want to do is pick some colors out of this photo to complement my layout. Now, if I just take the tool and I mouse over the picture, you'll see that the picture lights up. And that indicates that if I just click right now, what it's going to do is sample the 5 most common colors from this layout. And if I twirl down this, it gives me 5 different versions that I could use. For example, if I wanted dark colors or deep colors, I could select one of those. And when I click on this button, it adds my theme as a color group to the Swatches panel. And it calls it Deep Theme because it was deep colors, but I'm going to call it dark greens. And to clear it so I can sample something else, I'm just going to hit my escape key. And I can also choose to sample just a small area of my document. So if I just click and drag a little marquee here, say around this sort of dark trunk shapes here, then I get a 5-color theme with dark, and this time I'm going to go for muted. I'm going to try muted, and I'm going to put that in my Swatches panel as a new color group, and it's going to be called Muted Theme. You'll notice this other button here, and if I click that button, it will upload this to my Creative Cloud account, my Adobe Creative Cloud account, which means that I can access it from other Adobe applications such as Illustrator or Photoshop. So that's kind of cool. I may want to make some illustrations using these same colors, and then I could easily do that. You can also sample individual. I'm hitting the escape key again to clear the tool. And if I wanted to just sample individual colors that are in a small part of the layout, I can also, and let me go to View, Display Performance. Oh, I'm at high quality display. Okay, I guess that's just a pixelated picture. So getting back to my color theme by hitting the eyedropper tool, if I hold down my Shift key, notice that my eyedropper turns into a little sort of target shape. And this allows me to sample a single color. So if I say hover over this yellow and I click on that, it gives me a range of colors based on that yellow. And because I was using the Shift key, when I click down, it gives me different color harmonies that I can consider, such as analogous, colors that are very similar to my base color, monochromatic, which are just tints and shades, or complementary, which comes from the opposite side of the color wheel. So I have a lot of choices here. Let me go with analogous. And now you see I have a great collection of swatches pretty much ready to go. Now I should mention that a lot of people have been doing this color by color for years by just using the eyedropper tool and eyedropper in colors. And you can do that too. For example, if I just eyedropper that color and then I hover over this type, I can just drag and apply that color to the type. But it's a kind of a disadvantage to do it in the old-fashioned way because that creates an unnamed color, and that means you're using a color in your document that doesn't appear in your swatches panel. So it's really difficult to access it again. And it's much, much better to have your colors named and in your swatches panel, and they're named with the RGB components here, percentages. One thing I should point out is that these swatches are all coming in RGB, and that's because this document was created in the RGB color space with the intent of digital publishing. Had I created my document in CMYK, it would be making CMYK swatches. So it just automatically knows what kind of swatches that you need. So let's take a look at this and see if we can make our document look a little bit better. Let's try this lavender background here, and maybe just a very light green. And I can dial that percentage down a little. Maybe a light green, that looks kind of nice. And then I can take this red here, which doesn't look too good, and turn it into a sort of tasteful brown. And this can go to another green maybe. And I can even do my drop cap. Kind of maybe a brighter color. I don't know, let's see how that is. That doesn't really show up, so maybe I'll do my drop cap back in this color. So we have now a much more harmonious kind of layout, and if we aren't completely pleased with it, we can always go back and say, I said, well, no, I want a little more contrast than this, to our color theme tool, and I select, perhaps holding down my shift key, I select a green here. Because I use the shift key, I can choose a complementary theme, and that might give me some complementary colors that I could experiment with. So in general, the color theme tool is really quite wonderful, and I like it a lot. And I encourage you to experiment. This makes it really easy to try different color themes and just see how they work out. You can try all kinds of things and see what you like, see what works for you. One other thing I should mention is there are some preferences if you double click on this tool, and you notice that you can ignore opacity when picking colors. I've never turned that on, but I guess you could. And the default is convert as per document intent, but you can also convert to CMYK or RGB, although in general, if you're in an RGB document, it's best to stick with RGB colors, and if you're in a CMYK document, it's far better to stick with those. So I just usually leave this at the default. Anyway, there is our color theme tool. I think it's really great, and if you create some great themes that you like, you can export them to your cloud account or to the Adobe Color website for everyone to use. So thank you for watching, and we'll be back in a week or so with some more What's New in InDesign tips.